T minus 1 minute. T minus 50 seconds. T minus 40 seconds. T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Attention to all participants, please fill your attendance for today's program through the Google Form link and QR code that will be provided at the end of the program. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Greetings to Ms. Dwi Nur Aini binti Suyadi, Director of the MHAC Your Mind Matters, Ms. Siti Fatimah binti Ali, Director of the PsyTea, The Essence of a Good Life Mental Wellbeing 2022 program, Mr. Gary Yap, Clinical Psychologist and founder of MYPsychologist, fellow committee members and beloved participants. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good evening to each and every participant of this program. Welcome to the program PsyTea, the essence of a good life, mental well-being. I would like to take this opportunity to thank all students who have taken the initiative to take part in this amazing program. Praise to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who have been graced by the chance together in this momentous ceremony. Before we move on, let us begin with the recitation of dua that will be led by Amirul Idham bin Muhammad Asri.
Ulumul Kitab Al-Fatihah. A'udzubillahi minasyaitonirrajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin wassalatu wassalamu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala sahbihi ajmain. Ya Allah ya Rahim. Praise to be God, the Lord of the world. Peace and blessing be upon our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his companion, and for those who follow his example till the judgment day. Allahumma ya Allah, on this blessing evening, in conjunction with the MYPsychology 2022, we beseech thee and grateful towards you in favor of all the blessing to us, your humble servant, to live in a safe and prosperous life. We seek your blessing for the flawless flow of this event from the beginning till the end. We seek your guidance to steer clear the event that would be detrimental to the progress of this event. Ya Latif, Ya Rahman, please bless us with your tawfiq and hidayah. Please guide Psyche and all the participants here today to greatness, peace, glory, and prosperity in this world and the hereafter. Make us responsible leader and intellectual. Grant us with valuable knowledge that will be beneficial to mankind in order to gain your madatillah. Make us your righteous servant that follow your command and neglect sinful act. Please forgive us for our wrongdoing. Ya Munzila Barakat, bestow peace to our beloved country, Malaysia. Preserve us from any threats and disaster, neither man-made nor natural disaster. And to you, Ya Allah, we ask for security and prosperity upon us in order to face the challenges from you. Please accept our deeds and please reward us accordingly. Allahumma ij'al jam'ana hadza jam'an marhuma wa tafarruqana min ba'dihi tafarruq maksuma wa la taj'alillah fina wala ma'ana wala man yatba'una sakiyan wala marduda wala mahruma. Allahumma ij'al khaira a'marina akhiru wa khaira a'malina khawatimu wa khaira ayyamina yawma alqaka fih. Allahumma fil lana dhunubana wa walidina lillazina sabaquna bil iman ولا تجعل في قلوبنا للذين آمنوا ربنا إنك غفور رحيم ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Amin.
Amin, Amin, Ya Rabbal Alamin. Thank you, Amirul Idham bin Muhammad Asri, for the recitation of dua just now. Before we move on, I would like to give a brief explanation about today's program. PsyTea, the Essence of a Good Life Mental Wellbeing Program, which is organized by Psychic, is carried out to help all participants to uncover their thoughts and feelings of disturbance. At the same time, help them to obtain a responsiveness mental well-being. Excellent mental well being is not about the absence of negative and disturbing thoughts, it is about how we can manage and maintain those feelings inside us as well. Because we all face hard times and challenging situations throughout the times that make us feel sad, angry, scared, and mix of all. Thus, by maintaining those unwanted thoughts, we build ourselves to a more positive side of life. Next, we will continue our program with a briefing speech by our program director, Ms. Siti Fatimah binti Ali. Please welcome.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good evening and greetings to our honorable speaker, Mr. Gary Yap, clinical psychologist and founder of MYPsychology. My fellow UTM students, especially to my dear leadership board of Psychic and to the PsyTea Mental Wellbeing Committee members. All praise to be the divine. Because of His grace, we are given the wonderful opportunity to gather this evening for the PsyTea, the Essence of a Good Life Mental Wellbeing program. First of all, I would like to thank all the participants who participate in this program for being willing to spend your time in this very meaningful program. Not to forget the audience as well for enlivening the PsyTea, the Essence of a Good Life Mental Wellbeing program today. I really appreciate your efforts. I would like to thank Psychic members who have given me the opportunity and trust to implement this program. At first, when I was informed that I will be directing the PsyTea, the Essence of a Good Life Mental Wellbeing program, I was very nervous considering that this is not a simple program to conduct, which is why millions of thanks I would like to give to my committee members for their continuous hard work to make this program a success and working together to ensure that this program runs very smoothly. And to all the parties who have aided in the success of this program, either directly or indirectly. Without your efforts, this program may not be able to be such a success. Within the success of a program, there may always be some shortcomings and defects here and there. Therefore, on behalf of the entire committee, I would like to apologize for any such shortcomings that will hopefully be rectified in the future. I sincerely hope that all the crew and the participants in particular feel satisfied that they are able to achieve something worthwhile that we can use for our daily life by taking part of in the program today. Finally, I hope that this society, the Essence of a Good Life Mental Wellbeing program, was able to help ones in managing their emotions in order to achieve an excellent mental well-being. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Director, for the excellent speech. Dear participants, I, on behalf of this MHAC Program Committee, would love to extend special thanks and gratitude to our sponsorship parties, especially Yayasan Raja Zaris Sofia, for their contribution to this program's success. Your willingness to work with us is very much appreciated. Dear participants, before we proceed, I would like to give a short brief about our speaker, Mr. Gary Yap. Mr. Gary Yap is currently a clinical psychologist at MYPsychology, who is also the founder of MYPsychology, which is Malaysia's first psychology educational platform, which officially launched on the 11th of January 2014. Mr. Gary is one of the TEDx speakers and was invited by Relate Malaysia in a podcast series. Not only that, Mr. Gary also has delivered over 100 corporate talks in mental wellness since 2014. If you have any question or to our speaker, Mr. Gary Yap, a Slido link will be given in the middle of the talk session. Feel free to ask any question there. In order to continue with our program today, I would like to invite to our speaker, Mr. Gary Yap. clinical psychologist, with the title of The Importance of Mental Wellbeing. Please welcome.
Hi everyone, can you all hear me? Just testing with the audio and the video. If yes, you can let me know in the chat box as well. Okay, I see a yes from City. First of all, good afternoon and also salam sejahtera. Big thank you to Psychology Interactive Club, Psychic from UTM. This is my second time at UTM sharing my knowledge of psychology and mental health. And with that, I would like to thank you for your willingness to spend this wonderful time with us. I guess in this 1 hour talk, we are going to have this opportunity or a safe space to get to know ourselves from different aspects, including emotions and talk as well. And with that, I would like to ask for the team to have our slide today. As you can see, right, it's about unveiling emotions, understanding and managing our emotions and thoughts as well. Okay, so with that, I would like to just to invite all of you to just take notes. There will be a Slido posted in the comment sections. In the Slido, that's where you can ask questions. Okay, we will have a Q&A sessions. Okay, thank you for the kind introduction just now. As you can see, I'm a clinical psychologist. So before I start the sessions, I would like to just share with you one good news and bad news. The bad news is that when it comes to introducing myself as a psychologist, a lot of my friends and audience, they will be asking me, Gary, can you read my mind? Or from my expressions, do you know what are the thoughts that I'm struggling with? So I would like to review the bad news is that I can't really read your mind. And even though if you are interacting with me, showing your webcam, I may not know what is crossing over or what are you struggling with. However, the good news is that we have slido.com. That's where a safe space you can submit your questions, you can share your thoughts anonymously. That is where you can interact with me, and I will try my best using my knowledge, what I know, to help you to understand more about yourself, to manage our thoughts and emotion. Okay, and all right. So here is a quick talk outlines of what we are going to learn today. So the first part we will have a quick interactions. That is where I will invite you to rate how you feel. We will watch 2 videos. And then feel free to interact with me and let me know how you are feeling right now, right? On this wonderful Friday. And second part is people have been talking about, hey, don't emo lah. People have been saying that, right? Hey, get rid of your negative emotions. But what is the right way or what is the appropriate way to manage our emotions? Okay. But sometimes after managing emotions, we still struggle because a lot of concerns not only come from situations, but also come from our thoughts of the situation. Okay, so that here comes the third part is how can we understand how our mind works? If you are wondering how come my mind are always occupied by a lot of negative thoughts, this slide is for you. And I will share with you some of the simple tips, simple to apply tips that I have extracted from my therapy sessions. Okay, so that's where in the fourth part you will apply another technique as well. And the fifth part is we always hope that we can have a happy life, right? People have been talking about happily ever after. But how can we apply some of the evidence-based or psychological tips to have some dose in our life? Okay, so this is something that we are going to learn in this session, but of course followed by a Q&A session. Okay, so let's start from the first one. So now, I know that now we are entering a different phase of a pandemic. Previously, we have this MYPsychology apps, right? We have adopted this habit, right? Everywhere we go, we have to scan. But now we are no longer using MYPsychology to scan wherever you are. But now we are going to try something very different using this thermometer, but not scanning the barcode, but scanning ourselves. Okay, so let's start from this. First questions of the talk is, if you can see here is a feeling thermometer, right? Today we are going to talk about emotion and thoughts. So let's scan ourselves first. Okay, you can comment in the sections, and I will see. I can see you. That's where I can interact with you. So if you can look at this thermometer, you will see the on a scale of 1 to 10, right? 1 refers to I'm feeling great, right? I'm feeling okay. When we're going up, yeah, I'm okay. I'm cool. When it reach 5 to 6, it's like this is hard, but I'm in control. I'm getting uncomfortable. When it comes to 10, it's going to explode soon. So hard to control, right? So on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd like to invite you to just ask yourself, how would you rate your feelings today? Okay, including right now. Okay, so you can share your numbers in the comment sections. Okay, so right now, if you look at this feeling thermometer, how are you feeling? Are you feeling 1? Or are you feeling 5 to 6? Or are you feeling number 10? Okay, so something that you can think about or you can share in the comment section as well. So while you are digesting and looking at this, trying to rate your feelings, I'd like to share with you that a lot of my friends, especially during the pandemic, they ask me a lot of questions like, Gary, you are a psychologist. Can you share with me what is the best tips for managing emotion? What are the best tips for managing our stress? From my experience of working with clients, what I learned from clients is that all the skills, techniques that I'm going to share later are the second priority. Actually, what is the top priority when it comes to mental wellness is the awareness. So before we solve stress, before we manage emotions, is how well are we aware of our feelings? How well are we aware of ourselves? So the moment you started to answer these questions, you already started the first step, which is to pay attention back to yourself first. Okay, so I see some of the comments from YouTube. I know that this talk will be streamed on different platforms. So I see some participants, Iman said, yeah, I'm boiling already. Okay, so I need to say 10 already, exploding soon, right? CT saying 5. Okay, so maybe some of you, even though if your feelings are at 10, doesn't mean that you are in a very bad situation, or doesn't mean that way. But it's more like this is how you are aware of how you feel, the intensity of your feelings. Okay, some of you probably you realize that, oh, my friends are also having the same rating. Then my next question would be, where does your feeling come from? Okay, you can ask yourself this: what makes me rate 8 or 10 or 5? Is it related to my experience? Is it related to my assignment? Is it related to the upcoming event, for example? Okay, so yep, here is the first question, scanning how we feel. Now, second question is that imagine that there's a mirror in front of you. Probably now, if you are watching this through a laptop, probably you have a webcam looking at yourself. My next question would be, if you can look into a mirror, okay, just imagine, right? If you, or now you can just open your phone, open a camera and look at yourself, right? What are the expressions that I can see from you? Okay, here are the common 6 expression. So if you can just look at the mirror right now, what would be your expression? Okay, is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6? Or do you see any common faces here? Okay, common expressions from people around you or yourself before you go to study, before you start your day. Okay, so when it comes to emotions, psychologists have been debating, right? How many emotions we have. We talk about different expressions, and some psychologists debate that we have 3,000 emotion, right? Some psychologists say no, we have 29 emotion. Okay, and when we analyze expressions, we look at different emotions here. So that's why they talk about this based on expression. Okay, so we see some of the participants say, yeah, I'm having 3, right? The number 3 expression. Okay, we have another participant say, yeah, 6, like this. Okay, so whatever expressions that you have, what you are looking at right now, is they are all 6 basic emotion. Okay, even though we have a lot of debates, right? How many type of emotions we have? 3,000, 29. But if you want to talk about very, very basic emotion, these are the 6 basic emotions that you are having. So for participants who rated 3, are you having fear right now? Okay, or for another participants who rated 6, are you feeling disgusted, like yucky feelings? Okay, you can let me know in the comment section as well. So when it comes to these 6 basic emotions, we always try to understand how come they exist, right? What are the reasons they exist? How come they evolve as 6 basic emotions? And what we notice is that every emotion have a purpose. There's no positive or negative emotion. What we notice is all these emotions, they come with a function. If you look at happy face, right? What do you see from the happy face? What catch your attention? Okay. So if you see a big smile, right? You see a big smile and very relaxed. You see like this, right? And if we can zoom out of someone who's very happy, you will notice that someone, is really, their posture is very open, very relaxed. And what we notice, if you are very happiness can help you to understand, wow, this is good for you when you are spending time with family. This is good for you. So when you feel happy, happiness remind you this is something that you can do for your healthy, for your well-being as well. And sometimes if you are very happy, we also notice that you will become very friendly. So that also helps you to bring connection to one another. Okay, because you are relaxed, right? You're relaxed, you are not defending yourself. People feel closer to you. But if you look at surprise and fear, oh, you totally see a different face, right? If you look at the face, you see like this, right? The eyes are big, the mouth are like this, like this, right? So what are the functions of surprise and fear? What we notice is that surprise and fear, they are emotions that they are always there to protect us. For example, if you bump into someone, right? If you bump into someone, we'll be like this, right? Why? Because our eyes need to be enlarged so that we want to know something is unexpected, any dangerous event happening, any things that are threatening to us. Okay, so surprise is usually very brief. It's like unexpected. We have to look around. But if you notice, oh, it's a birthday party, it's a birthday surprise, then you will feel happy. But sometimes if you notice, oh, I bumped into my lecturer, oh, I didn't submit my assignment, okay, then it might turn into fear. So fear go like this. If you notice fear come like this. Why? You need to take in oxygen so that you can do something about it. You can run away, right? Or you can finish things faster. Okay, so you see, surprise and fear, they are here with some reminders. But if you look at sadness, what do you see from the facial feature? It's like the muscles are pulled downwards, right? Like this. Right? So that's why people say, why are you so down? Usually they're referring to you look sad, right? You look lonely, etc. Right? So sadness, if you look at this facial feature, it is also sending out the message that we might need support. We might need space, right? If we are feeling sad, you will notice your whole body posture become very smaller. So that, sending out the message that we need some space for support. Can you support me? Can you be here for me? Okay, if you look at anger, what do you see, right? Like this, right? The tensest muscle, like this. Sometimes we freeze our anger, right? It's where, and sometimes when we are feeling angry, our body will become very big. Why? We want to stand out from ourselves. When does anger come in? When there are unfairness, when you get bullied, or when you see unjust or unfairness. That's where we feel angry, we stand out for ourselves, we stand out for our values. There's a function of anger. The last one is disgust. Disgust, you see something like this, right? Like you're blocking your nose, you're turning your face away. When do we feel disgust? When you get in touch with foods that are expired, okay? Or if you get in touch with smelly long tongue, for example, we are like this, right? So these emotions protect you away from something that's very disgusting. However, nowadays we can feel disgust towards persons. If you see your expressions always like this towards someone, probably this person is saying something that doesn't make you feel good, or you are disgusted by the behavior. Probably some statements that are not good, or harassments or bullying. Sometimes we will be like this so that we can keep a distance. So as you can see here, every emotions, they have functions, they have a reasons to say. And when we talk about 6 basic emotions, which means that no matter where you go to Japan, Korea, you go to different country, maybe you don't know their language, but from seeing their expression, you can somehow guess how they are feeling. Okay, so now we have talked about emotions already. Now I'd like to invite the team to play 2 videos, and you can comment in the comment section below. How do you feel after watching the video? Okay, so let's watch this one.
Goods, door shit, all your friends, they hit your goods right inside.
Okay, so here's the first video. Okay, it's less than 2 minutes. And how do you feel after watching the video? Or what do you notice from your emotions after watching this short video? This is a short video that you can watch on YouTube as well. It's a video, I think, that was done in 2016. Okay, so probably some of you will be saying, okay, it's a very creative advertisement, but do you notice how you are feeling, right? Sometimes probably we notice that, if you can look at the expressions, the audience are surprised. Right? And we know that sometimes we learn the best by intense emotion. This is something that are also very important, or they are always emphasized when it comes to advertisement. Okay, so one question is for you. After watching the video, do you have the urge to do something or not to do something? Okay, some of you are saying that I'm shocked, right? Something that is unexpected. But after watching this video, any changes that you hope to make, or maybe when I was in the car, when I go back to the car again, maybe I'll try to be more aware. I won't do this again, or I will remind my family not to do this again. Okay, so yep, something to think about. Later we'll talk more about this. So now let's watch the second video. Okay, and you let me know how do you feel. Okay. Okay, what about this one? How do you feel after watching this video compared to the first video? Do you notice from yourself? Yeah, I see some of the participants, I'm laughing too, right? Yeah, if you're laughing too, you will notice that, hey, I don't know the person inside. I don't know them, right? I don't even know their name, but I can feel the happiness. And that is also one of the nature of emotions, where emotions are contagious. So if you notice that sometimes you feel sad when listening to your friend's sad story, or you feel happy, celebrate happiness with them, emotions are contagious. Regardless of the nature of emotions, that is what makes us connected to one another. So it's okay sometimes you feel sad together with your friends, you feel happy together with your peers, or you feel angry together, that is fine. Okay, which means that you are connected. Okay, but as you can see here, my next question is that some disclaimer here is these are not sponsored ads. It's more like educational purposes. You can watch this on YouTube. But my next question is, after watching this video, have you felt the urge to do something? Like after watching this this video about happiness, very creative tagline, choose happiness, right? Like an advertisement from Coca-Cola. Do you feel like you want to buy a drink, or do you feel like you want to give a call to your friends and share this together, right? Very contagious, people say. But if you can see here, if you notice, oh, I have some urge to do something, then you can start paying attention to your life. We all know this advertisement, they are trying to promote us to have this brand, to buy this, or not to do this, right? It's because our behaviors and emotions are always linked. There's a saying that I feel, therefore I do. If you pay attention to a lot of examples in your life, and pay attention why you buy things, sometimes it's due to emotions, right? I feel happy about this brand, that's why I buy this, right? I feel happy about this ambassadors. I feel happy about the advertisement. It promotes happiness. That's why I buy the product. That's why I enjoy my food at a fast food restaurant, for example. Not only this, if you pay attention during the pandemic, what makes us follow SOP is because of fear. I don't want to get infected, right? So this is why we follow SOP, we wear masks. So can you imagine if we are living in a society when there's no emotion, no one will care about SOP. So somehow fear or anxiety, they are here to protect us, to keep us safe. So the third one is voice out, right? Sometimes we voice out, we stand up for something because there's an anger, right? We are angry towards that our boundaries are crossed or when they are unjust or unfair. Okay, so if you see the link between how you feel and what you do, my next question is, have you ever regretted of doing something when you are emotional? Okay, you can try to reflect. It can happen when you were shopping. It can happen when you were having conversation with others. Have you ever regretted? Yeah, I see some of you saying yes. Yes, I regretted. Of course, regret is also another emotions, right? I wish this never happened again, or I'm not supposed to do this, right? If you look at this, the same emotion, sometimes can lead us to unpleasant consequences as well. For example, right? We feel happy, but sometimes when we feel happy, when we are so happy during the online shopping, we overspend. We buy more things. We buy more things when things that are not necessary. And during the pandemic, not sure if you have the similar experience like me. There are so many times that I couldn't find eggs and toilet paper in the supermarket because when we are driven by fear, we can have this panic buying. We buy so much things, right, which are too much or which are not needed at the first place, right? Or just like I me saying, right, we say something that we didn't mean it, not because we want, but we are driven by the emotion. Sometimes I just want to voice out, but I don't know how. I lash out and ended up hurting someone. So as you can see here, we understand the nature of emotion and we see the link with the behavior. And sometimes emotion can lead us to do something that we feel regret afterwards. So that's why that leads to the next slide. People say that's why we need to manage our emotion. We need to manage, and sometimes we get advice, right? You need to manage your emotion or your negative emotion. So let me share with you this story about emotional management. Okay, so here is a cat story. If any participants, if you love cats, maybe you can start paying attention to this. Probably can relate to this or relate the emotions of my client. So one of my clients reached out to me asking for help regarding this. Okay, so she came in, she said, so this client said, I was at rasa bersalah. I felt like I'm not supposed to be like this. I'm angry towards myself because I hit my cat. So she was in tears. She said every time her cat meow meow meow, she couldn't control, she would hit her cat. Okay, so allowing her to express the emotion, I paused for a while and asked her, whose cat is that? And she said, it's my cat. I love my cat so much, but I don't know why. I hit her, I couldn't control my emotions, I couldn't control my frustrations every time I heard her sound. Right? The sound meow meow meow, I feel very angry. Okay, maybe I don't love her, maybe I don't love her anymore. Maybe I have an emotional problem. Okay. So my clients presented this formula for me. She said, Gary, you look, every time I feel frustrated, I hit my cat. Okay. So can you help me or teach me to calm down? See, emotional management, right? So if we can change this formula, if you can help me to calm down, then I won't hit my cat. Okay. So I asked her, how come you can reach this solution? She said, because we can't mute the cat. If the cat meow meow meow, I couldn't mute the cat. So let's look at the emotion. Can we do something about it? Okay. So this is her proposed solution. So she came to see me during the counseling session. So before I proceed further, I try to ask my clients. I say, have you ever tried, before you see me, have you ever tried your step to manage your emotion? Then she said, yeah. Every time I feel frustrated, I try to advise myself, don't think about it, right? Suppress my emotion. I lock myself in the room. I try to distract myself with all the social media, watch more cat videos, different videos, just to keep myself occupied. okay, to get rid of whatever emotions that I have. But the more I do, I spend more time, and now I have been spending 4 hours on social media, but the frustrations are not going away. So for now, I would like to stop here for a while and just check in with you. Have you ever tried something similar in your life? Have you ever tried to stop yourself from feeling certain emotion? You're feeling so stressed, you're feeling frustrated, but you don't know how you want to get rid of it. You try to distract yourself by a lot of things. You exercise a lot so that you can forget, so that you don't feel angry again. And do you think it is working for you, or do you think it is working for her? The answer is no. The answer is no from her cat, right? Because the more she wanted to repress her emotions, the more she wanted to calm down, things ended up in this way. She hit her cat. She lashed out to her boyfriend and also shouted at her mom. And she's stuck in this cycle, right? But if you listen to this story, you will notice that my client has been putting a lot of effort, right, to manage her emotion, right, to manage her emotions. I see some of the participants from YouTube saying that, yeah, I shut my emotions, I eat a lot, right? We try to solve our emotion. Just like my clients, this client is very hardworking, right, trying a lot, but somehow he ended up like this. So this is something that I would like to share with you when it comes to emotional management. This is what is worrying nowadays. When we talk about emotional management, we tend to jump to the state where we want to solve the emotion directly. We want to manage the emotion directly without looking at the situations, without understanding emotion. Just like this, right? We strip everything under the carpet. Not sure if you notice this. If you notice that you are relating to this struggle, this is something that may happen, or it could be related to our childhood experience. When I was a child, or when you were a child, could you recall when you were feeling sad, or when you were in tears, when you were so angry, when you were so anxious? What are the common advice that you receive? So when I was in tears, I was rotan, I kena rotan because I was advised that you are a boy, you're not supposed to cry, you're not supposed to be emotional, you need to be tough, you need to be strong. So if I cry, I will get rotan. So I have to stop my emotions within seconds. And when I was very angry, I was told by adults that you have no right to feel angry. Keep your emotion away and focus on your studies. And there was a time I joined a speech competition, right? Bagi Syarahan. And I was told that don't be anxious, no fear, just go up on stage. And the more advice I receive from them, the more anxious I get to be. So not sure if you can relate to this. Sometimes we receive this message from the society or even people around us that certain emotions are not supposed to be there. And please keep your emotion away, manage your emotion. And what will happen when we grow up with this message? When we grow up, we forcefully control our emotion. Every time we feel stressed, we eat more. Every time we feel stressed, we shop, we spend more time on social media. And sometimes if this doesn't work, we may reach out for substance. And what will happen if we allow this to come in our life gradually? This one might happen. We become positive all the time. We become positive all the time, or we may lose touch with our feelings, which is I don't know how I feel. Nowadays, we have this term called alexithymia, where we as human beings, we started to have difficulty to identify how we feel. We lost touch with our emotion, right? That is where this is something very concerning. And I started to see a lot of clients um, in my therapy where they don't know how they feel anymore. But if you can remember the first beginning of my slide when we talk about emotions, emotion is not the problem. Even though you feel angry, even though you feel sad, even though you feel disgust towards something, they have a meaning to stay. So most of the time, concern never come from emotion. The concern is what we do with the emotion. So when we talk about anger management, for example, right, one of the most common requests in therapy, anger management. But if you look at anger management concerns, usually the concern don't come from anger directly. It comes from what you do when you are feeling certain emotion. Okay, so here when we talk about emotional management, when it comes to therapy, we won't change emotions directly. So the formula go like this. If we want to understand our emotions, if we want to manage them, we understand our emotions, we manage the behavior. Okay, because the problems come from behavior, never come from emotion. So my clients come into the room like this. I hit my cat because I'm feeling frustrated, right? So Gary, do something about it, right? That's why if you look at this statement, we somehow blame our emotion. But it shouldn't be like this. It should be, I'm feeling frustrated and I have made a choice and I choose to hit my cat. Okay. However, if you explore this statement with my clients who is a cat lover, this is a big struggle, right? Because she loves cat, but it's just that she didn't know how to control the actions because the gap is too small. Every time I feel frustrated, it's just automatically I hit my cat. Just like sometimes we feel angry, we say things that are hurtful to others. The gap is too small and it's too automatic. So if we want to manage emotions, we understand our emotions, we focus on behavior as well. Okay, if you look at my clients who's feeling frustrated and ended up hitting the cat, lashing out or shouting, is because all this behavior, most of the time, it happened too fast, or we call reactive. What is reactive? It's very fast, automatic emotion. Okay, there are times we need to be reactive, right? People come to you, people want to hit you. Being reactive, you tend to escape, right? You tend to escape. However, sometimes being reactive can lead us to very unfavorable consequences. So when we want to manage our behavior, it goes like this. It's about making choices. Okay. So when we are being reactive, you will notice your behavior is very fast and automatic, as if you are driving your car on a highway, very familiar road. So what will happen if you're driving your car on a highway? Being automatic, right? So you just drive. Sometimes we think of other things already. And sometimes emotional concerns can come like this. So if we want to manage emotions, we will choose from reactive to respond. We slow down. Okay, we slow down. Imagine that you are driving your new car through a muddy road. What will happen? You slow down, right? You slow down, you look at left, you look at right, you pause, you make choices. So this is what we want to do when it comes to emotional management. The key is really slowing down from being automatic, from your habit. You really slow down and look at your action. Okay, so here comes the tips that I would like to share with you. Okay, this is the first half. So we understand that emotions are linked with our behavior, and sometimes we feel angry, we feel frustrated, we lash out, or we eat more, right? So concern comes from behavior. We need to understand emotion and manage behavior. So how can we achieve this, right? So NAMA is the tips that I extracted from my therapy so that you can apply it easily in your life. So every time you notice that you are feeling frustrated, you are upset, you are overwhelmed by emotion, let's start from the end. Each alphabet represents one skill. You can start naming your emotion. Okay, name how you feel. Okay, so why do we need to name our emotion? So what we notice is something related to our brain. Okay, so a little bit about neuroscience, a little bit. Okay, so if you look at this, you look at there are two parts of our brain. So there's one part called amygdala. That's where emotions or fears. There are a lot of emotions when we are having it, when we are experiencing it. This part of your brain will get activated, so the activity will be increased. And what we notice, if this part of you, the emotional center, when it's activated, it will shut down, or the part of other brains, the activity will go down. Okay, so when you're emotional, it's so hard for you to think rational. It's because there's one part of your brain which is called the control center is shutting down as well. So that's why I'm not sure if you can recall to your past example where you know that you are not supposed to say this, but you don't know how you ended up saying it. It's because your control center hasn't woken up or is not active yet. So, but what we notice from research, when you name your emotion, oh, I'm angry right now, wow, I'm frustrated, this part of your brain we call the control center reactivated. Okay, when you label your emotion, wow, I'm angry right now, that's where this part of your brain will get activated. You can become rational again. You can start analyzing your situation again. And what we notice, if you can practice this more often, in 90 seconds, 1.5 minutes, you can calm yourself down. Okay, so this is why we need to name our emotion. But sometimes it's not easy, right? Sometimes we even don't know how we feel and we end up scolding others already. So this is something that you can try. When you come to name how you feel, I would say that from time to time, you can ask yourself, hey, how am I feeling right now? Just like how I asked you in the beginning of the session, how am I feeling right now? Can I give a name to my feelings? And if you're not sure, if you're struggling with finding some vocabulary, you can go to Google and just search emotional view. Okay, it's one of the tools that you can search. There's a bunch of words that you can use to describe how you feel. Okay, or you can just write down how you feel. So while naming or labeling your emotion, this part of your brain will get activated. You can become rational, or you can see things again. Okay, so but sometimes it's so hard as well. I don't know how to name my emotions. There are tips that you can try. You can ask yourself, where do I feel my emotions right now? I don't know how to name my emotions, right? But I can feel some chest discomfort. I can feel right now I'm having cold sensation. I notice that my muscles are tense. Okay, so what we notice, sometimes emotion can be expressed in your body sensation, and every emotion comes with different sensory awareness as well. So as you can see, when we are feeling angry, sometimes our muscles are tightened, right? Our teeth are clamping together. When we are having fear or anxiety, we have shortness of breath, fast heart speed, or sadness, tears with sadness, or sometimes we have tiredness or low energy as well. So sometimes if you find so hard to name how you feel, you can name your body sensation as well. Okay, so this is something that we can try. Okay, when you can just label your emotion. So usually when you label how you feel, this lead to our next skill. Okay, after naming our emotion, it's very important to acknowledge your feelings. Okay, so you can fill in the blank. For example, you identify that, wow, I'm feeling frustrated right now. So remember to remind yourself that it's okay to feel frustrated. It's okay to feel how I feel. And if someone in my positions, he or she might have similar feelings as well. So this is very important. Rather than getting rid of your feelings, rather than stuffing yourself with food, it's important to acknowledge how you feel. Okay, rather than being judgmental towards yourself. Okay, so after acknowledging, this promote acceptance. This lead to the third part. So we have N, A, which is the M. Okay, M is meaning. What actually happened? What is my feeling trying to tell me? Because every emotion comes with a meaning, comes with a value. So for example, you notice that I'm feeling anxious right now. Wow, I'm having palpitation. It's okay. I'm feeling anxious. This is how I feel. What makes me feeling anxious? What actually happened? So every emotion may come with different messages. For example, my anxiety might be telling me that I need to take a break. My anger might be telling me that I need to check in with my expectations. I need to check in with other relationship. Is there any bullying or unfairness happening? Wow, I'm feeling sad right now. Maybe I need connection. Maybe I need support. So if we can understand our emotion, then lead to the last one, which is action. After understanding the message from your emotions, we only take the actions. But usually, I don't need to share with you what are the best actions that you need to do, because I believe that all of us here, we know the best solution. But it's just that when we are overwhelmed by emotions, we get carried away from what we meant to do. Okay, so let's summarize the NAMA, right? You name how you feel, you acknowledge your feeling, you understand the meaning, then you take the action. Okay, so going back to my client, I use this technique to help my clients with a cat story. Okay, if you can remember, very frustrated every time when she heard the cat meow meow, she hit the cat, right? So when my clients come in, listening her story, she was in tears. I help her to name her feelings. I say, I noticed that there are a lot of frustrations in you. Then she said, yeah, I'm feeling frustrated. That's where she started to feel calmer. And I said, yeah, it's okay. It's okay to feel frustrated, because if I'm in your positions, I love cat, but I see myself doing this, I may feel frustrated towards myself as well. And the third part, which is the meaning, I asked her, how long have you been feeling these frustrations? Recently? Or it has been more than a month or 3 months? And this really took my client a long time to think about it. And then she said, oh no, it has been about 3 months I've been feeling these frustrations. And I said, if you can guess, where does this frustration come from? And only she realized that her group assignment, the team is downsizing and she needs a lot of support because she's the one carrying a lot of work. That's where she feels frustrated because there are a lot of unfairness in her group assignment. And by identifying her frustrations, we reach out to the action, which is we work out on assertive communication. How can she reach out for more support? So is this working for her? Yes. Without talking about how can she love the cat, it's a yes. Okay. So the behavior was reduced and she was able to protect herself, her interest in the group assignment. So as you can see here, if looking back just as this example, we don't change the emotion. We understand the emotion. We even accept how we are feeling. But we need to understand our emotions because our emotion come from situation. Right? For my clients, it looks like a cat story, but if you zoom into it, wow, this frustration come from somewhere that needs an immediate action, which is the behavior that reach out to communicate. Okay, so I hope that this NAMA can help you to go through the emotional wave in your life as well. Okay, so for now, I'd like to thank you for your kind attention. If you stay till now, learning about emotion, we have finished the first half of our talk, talking about emotional part. So here is a free gift for all of you that I prepared for happiness kit. So later I will cover happiness in my last part, but here I would like to share with you this PDF file that I have made for all the participants here. You can scan the barcode or you can type the link, or you can just snapshot also can. So this is all for you. No sign-in required. No sign-in required. So when you just join, you can just download the file. It's for you. You can share with your loved one as well. Okay, so it's a file that I uploaded to Google Drive. No sign-in, just download. Okay, and the happiness in the choice. You will see some of the tips that I share with you and that we are going to cover later. So, yeah, okay. I hope you can download the link. Okay. So for now, we'll move on to the second part. So not sure if you can remember some of the childhood story, right? How childhood story promote happiness. I always wonder whether this represent our real life situation. When I listen to the childhood story, what I notice is that they always end up with a happy ending, right? Prince and princess happily ever after. Or this whole family, they are blessed with happiness. But when you relate to real life, is it really true? Sometimes it's not, right? If I can relate the story, I hope it can be like this. Prince and princess live happily ever after together with sadness, jealousy, guilt, disgust, fear, regret, or joy and happiness, etc. I would say that sometimes when we understand emotions, it is about allowing ourselves to reach a fruitful life with a lot of emotions, because every emotions comes with meaning. When you understand the emotions, you understand your meaning of life. Okay, that's where we manage our behavior to become the person whom we want to be. Okay, all right. So as you can see, right, we learn about the NAMA skill, the NAMA, so that when we experience certain situation, we understand our emotions, and then we manage our behavior. But sometimes, if you apply this skill, or if you apply this skill before, you might experience challenges. Things are not working in that way, in a way you want, right? How come I have solved the situation but I still couldn't sleep? Not sure if you noticed this, right? I'm still struggling with a lot of thoughts in my mind because some of the emotion don't come from situation. It comes from how you think about the situation. Okay, so sometimes it's related to our thoughts as well, not only come from emotion. Okay, that lead to our second part. We need to understand how our mind works. Okay, so no longer about feelings here. We are moving forward to our mind, because sometimes how we think may affect how we feel. All right. So for now, I'd like to share with you one questions. I'd like you to just pay attention to your thinking style. Maybe if you're students, you try to imagine that you realize that you missed deadline or you make mistake in group assignment. Okay, if you are working adults, you can ask yourself, what if I realize that I make mistake in meetings or my proposal get rejected? Okay, what is your first thought that always cross over your mind? Okay, some people maybe they have this, we call it like positive thinking style. They always reframe, oh, that is okay. At least it's not that bad. At least I learned something from my mistake. But some people maybe their first thought is neutral thinking. It just happened, right? It happened this way, just stating the fact. Some of us, the first thought that may cross over our mind is negative thoughts. We judge ourselves. Why am I so dumb? We are always problematic. How come I'm like this? How come I missed a mistake? I'm a loser. I'm a failure. I'm not good enough. Okay. So questions to all of you. Just try to recall or rewind a little bit back to your past. When any concern happened, what would be the first thought that pours in your mind? Okay. So what do you notice from your thinking style? Okay. If you notice that, if you are like me, if you notice that you tend to have this negative thinking style, you tend to judge yourself, you tend to blame yourself from doing something wrong, you are not alone. Okay, you are not alone. Because according to study, we will have almost 40 to 60 second thoughts in a day. Okay, in a day. And 80% of them are negative thoughts. Okay, 80% of them are negative thoughts. And what we notice is that negative thoughts stay longer in our mind. Okay, not sure if you can relate to this. So this is what we notice from the studies, from our mind. And recently, I can relate this to my personal story. Okay, let me share with you my personal experience. So recently, I was surviving, preparing for my transition into a new stage of life. Right, I was preparing myself for pre-wedding photography. Okay, so not sure if you are new to this. I'm really new to this. Right, first time. I'm not sure how. A lot of thoughts, fear of choosing the wrong one. Okay, so my friends say, you got to survey. Right, you got to survey. So I survey. So I stumbled upon this studio that I'm going to ask some question to consult. And just accidentally, I come across these negative reviews. So reading the review, very detailed reviews, negative. But it's quite a mixed reviews on the page. I would say maybe 80% are positive. Just 20%, 10 to 20% are negative. Okay, very detailed reviews. So with that in mind, but also I also read through the positive reviews here. So it's like a mixed response because I have made an appointment, so I go. Okay, so when I went there, the staff were friendly, very good. Okay, supportive colleagues, supportive staff, very supportive, and they give me a lot of giveaway, attractive packages, lucky draw as well. The packages, all the discount packages were nice. Okay, but the thing is, I struggle because I want to get rid of the negative reviews. Because what is in front of me is all the discount packages, very good services, right? Very nice experience, very nice photos. But I'm stuck. These negative reviews really stuck in my mind. So do you want to guess what happened? What happened after that? I ran away like this baby. Even though there are a lot of vouchers, I ran away like this baby. Why? Because I couldn't get rid of that negative reviews in my mind. And the more I want to think about it, it bounced up more in my mind. So what do you notice here? Is sometimes when we judge ourselves or we look at something really unfortunate news or negative news, it's our mind, it's quite easy to switch from positive to negative, but it's harder to switch from negative to positive. Not sure if you can relate to this. Okay, even though with that, with my story, seeing all these positive promotion, I run away because of that negative thoughts in my mind. It stay longer in our mind. And we even notice that sometimes our default mode is negative thoughts come first. Okay? But have you ever wondered how come? Because on social media, you will look at people sharing around positive quotes, positive thoughts, right? You need to be positive. We talk about positivity, right? You need to be, you need to cheer yourself up, right? Just be positive. But so hard, it's not easy. Because what we notice is negative thoughts, just like emotion, we need negative thoughts. Negative thoughts play important role in our life. Why so, right? Not sure if you are like confused. Hey, how come, right? When we frame them as negative thoughts. If you look at this example, for example, in the past pandemic, we work from home, right? We study from home. There are times that when you were giving presentation, no one gave attention to you. No one listened to you. No one responded. And sometimes we may have this thought in our mind. Am I a boring speaker? Am I delivering a talk that is not interesting? Or maybe they probably don't like me. Okay, so these are all we call it the negative thoughts, right? They pop in our mind. But because of these thoughts, sometimes we reflect about ourselves, right? Oh, can I switch some perspective to the audience? How would they feel when listening to my talk? Maybe I need to improve myself more so that I can connect with the audience, right? Because of these negative thoughts, it helps us to improve. And sometimes we make mistake in an assignment. We judge ourselves. How come I'm so stupid? I'm not supposed to do like this. But because of negative thoughts, we reflect, right? We review ourselves. Is there something that we can learn from this mistake? Let's say next day you are going to attend an important meeting. You have important presentation. Sometimes we may have fear. We couldn't sleep well, right? A lot of anxiety and fear. They might reject a lot of worst scenario in our mind. But because of these negative thoughts, what we do? We prepare. We rehearse, so that we can avoid worst scenario. So as you can see, sometimes all the improvement, the achievement, the tasks that you have accomplished today, part of it are due to negative thoughts. Not sure if you can relate to this. Not sure if you agree. Sometimes we improve not because of positive thoughts. It's because negative thoughts we want to avoid the worst scenario. So, but the thing is, what we are concerned is not about this situation. It's when negative thoughts become too much, when it becomes too overwhelming, it may become like this. The same situation, because we believe our thoughts, we stuck with our thoughts. We believe that no one like me, I'm a boring speaker, maybe I'm a lousy speaker, maybe if I deliver this in my student assignment, maybe they don't look up to me, I'm a stupid person. We isolate ourselves. We believe no one like me. So I end up isolating myself with loneliness. All right. So similar situation, I make mistake at my assignment and we become so self-critical, right? Even though just maybe one exam failure, one mistake in assignment, when we are so stuck with negative thoughts, we criticize ourselves, we end up having low motivation and we don't want to do it again, right? Important presentations, they might reject my ideas and I end up so anxious. I spend sleepless night to just double check, rehearse. And even though they complimented me, I don't believe it because I believe that I'm not good enough. I ended up in a burnout situation. Okay, so I'm not sure if you notice this. Sometimes when it's too much, it's really overwhelms us. So if you're struggling with this, that is what we want to address when it comes to negative thoughts, right? How can we handle the relationship with our thoughts? Okay, so if you notice that if you can relate to this, I manage my emotion, but somehow the thoughts are really overwhelming. This is something that you can do. If the Nama is not enough, to manage your distress, maybe this is something that you can try. So here, I would like to just use another example. Imagine that, you have experienced exam failure. If you are working adults, you maybe can refer to some of the situations where we make mistake, when you send the wrong email, or when you get bad reviews or criticism from others. Okay, and we have a lot of thoughts. So every time, if you notice that you are so overwhelmed by thoughts, or if you notice that things are over, situations are over, but you still stuck with your emotion, it could be something related to your thoughts. Then you can apply this 3C model. It's called catch, check, and change. All right. But of course, you don't have to apply this in order. Some of the participants probably you can just use 1C, and that is enough to help you to reduce the stress. All right. So let's start from the first one, catch. So sometimes when we are feeling certain emotions, it's related to our thoughts. So for example, when I'm feeling so angry or when I'm feeling so sad, you need to ask yourself, what is going through my mind? Or when this situation happened to me, what was I thinking? If you're new to this, if this is your first time hearing this concept, give yourself some time to practice, because sometimes we get confused with our thoughts and feelings. I ask my clients, how are you feeling right now? And my clients might respond to me, I think I'm going to fail my exam. You see, sometimes we get confused with thoughts and feelings. When I ask my clients, what is going through your mind right now? What are you thinking right now? Then my client might say, I think I'm feeling angry. Okay, sometimes we get confused. So feelings are emotions that we covered just now, but this thought is what is going through your mind. It can be images, it can be words, it can be statement, it can be criticism towards yourself. Okay, we need to catch the thought first. Okay, so something that you can do. For example, you experience a situation, right? I failed my exam. I feel so down. I don't want to meet my friends anymore. I want to isolate myself. So you can ask yourself, what is going through your mind? For example, you catch one thought. Wow, I'm a failure. I'm not good enough. Okay, this could be the thoughts that you catch. Sometimes if you feel so hard, I don't know what is going through my mind, you can practice by writing it out or journaling. Okay, so you need to catch a thought first so that you know what is behind your emotion. Okay, so after catching our thoughts, we lead to the next one. You need to check the thoughts. Where does the thought come from? So I have this exam failure, right? I think I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough and I'm stupid, or you notice there are a lot of thoughts that trigger your emotions, right? So you need to ask yourself, where does the thought come from? So there was one time my client shared with me that I'm not good enough seems like an old thought that comes from my childhood. There was a time I was criticized by one adult and I feel bad about myself. It's a familiar thought. And you ask yourself, what happened? Yeah, what happened to me right now is I failed my exam. But see how much my thoughts jump out. I'm a failure. Okay, so you need to check the thoughts. Is it really coming from the situation that people are really telling you this, or is it all thought that come from your experience? Okay, so that you can take a step back. Because sometimes situations just happen like this, nothing more, nothing less. But it's the thoughts that added a lot of pictures, words, scenario, or even judgment towards ourselves. Okay, you can check the thoughts. Because sometimes the thoughts come from childhood, they're not no longer relevant to today's situation, but it just reminder or trigger. And after checking the thoughts, you can also check the impact. When these thoughts come, when I believe these thoughts, when I give attention to the thoughts that, oh, I'm not good enough, I'm a failure because of this exam failure, I'm a failure, I don't think I'm good enough. Where does this thought lead you to? Is it helpful to you? And every time you believe this thought, some of my clients might say, oh, I feel low motivation, I isolated myself. And when you follow this thought, when you really believe that you're not good enough, what happened to you? So sometimes we may study more until burnout because we believe that we are not good enough. Even though we score well, we push ourselves more and more because of the thoughts. Okay, so you need to check the impact of the thoughts. So by doing this, just catching and checking the impact of the thoughts, you are already distancing yourself from the thoughts. Okay, so when you check the impact, that lead to the third C is change. That is where change happens. So sometimes our thoughts can paint the worst picture of one situation, right? One exam, we think that we are a failure. One mistake, we think that is the end of the world. Okay, that lead to a lot of unnecessary stress and emotion. So when we look at the thoughts, you can do something like reframing. It's important to ask yourself, is there any other way that I can look at this situation again? For example, when we reframe to it, oh, one exam, one result is not equivalent to my worth, and my worth is more than my result. Maybe this time it's just I make some mistakes, or maybe I interpret the questions in the wrong way. If I can't change the situation, what can I learn from this situation? Okay, maybe with that we started to know, oh, one mistakes maybe also represent that there are opportunities for growth as well. So this is something that we can remind ourselves. Can I look at this situation from another perspective? Okay, so this is something that we can try reframing. It's not easy, I know. It might not easy when this is first come to you, but this is something that we can practice. Can I look at this from a different perspective, or can I have another thoughts with that? And another one is sometimes not necessarily changing the thoughts, but we can also change the action. What will I be doing, right? If this thought I'm not good enough or I'm a loser goes away, it's no longer interrupting me. Maybe even though I have a failure, I will still choose to be kind to myself. I can learn from the mistake, I can review myself, but in the meantime, I can still choose not to isolate myself and enjoy the social activity. Okay, so these are the 3C model that we can try. Just take a step back, looking at our thoughts, but not buying our thoughts or or believing the thoughts completely. Okay, so this is something that we can try. Okay, not only from the feelings, the nama, but also from the thoughts. You need to catch the thought first. Is there any thoughts that always trigger your emotion? And you can check the thoughts, right? If I'm lousy, I'm a loser. Is it true? Is it from others, or it come from my past experience? Okay, and is it fair enough to judge myself just based on one situation? And can I reframe my thoughts? Can I reframe my thoughts in a different way? Rather than saying myself is a failure from one exam failure, can I see this as an opportunity for growth? Okay, just one of the example that you can reframe, but can we also change the action? Okay, yes, if this thought go away, how would I like to respond to this situation? Okay, so these are something that you can do with the thoughts. Okay, so for now, but of course, I don't have enough time to cover all the thoughts. It's a big topic. We can spend half day talking about it. But here, I have another free gift for all of you who have been, who have stayed up to now before we reach the last part talking about happiness. It's a free gift for all of you. Because there are a lot of thinking style that may lead to unfavorable consequences. Sometimes we have thinking style or our default mode that comes with black and white thinking. Sometimes we have prediction. We always predict the worst scenario, etc. So sometimes our thoughts are not true at all time. Okay, so you can download this thinking style and see, are you hooked by some of the thoughts? Do you notice that you tend to think in this way? So by being aware of your thoughts, you can reframe your thoughts from another perspective. So similarly, you can print screen this slide and you can scan the barcode. No sign required. You can download it and see, are you hooked by some of the thoughts? All right. Okay. So before we move on, so we have Q&A at the last part. So I will move on to the last part, which is the happiness. Okay, so we've been talking about a lot about problems, concerns, right? Emotional concerns, thought concerns, or we call it the negative emotion, negative thoughts. So let's end this slide with happiness. Okay, Friday TGIF, right? So to talk about happiness. So here, I would like to introduce you some happiness dose in our brain or body. Okay, DOSE, right? The dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphin. So probably some of you have come across this brain chemical or people call it hormone or neurotransmitter before. Okay, so each happiness chemical, they are responsible for different things, and you can apply some of the technique that I share with you. They are free to use to boost some of those in your life. Okay, so let's start from the dopamine first. So anyone, if you are a big fan of social media like Facebook, every time you tap on the Facebook apps, dopamine will get released. So what is dopamine is about? You see the theme color I use is the blue color, right? It's a reward chemical. Okay, it's a reward chemical. Every time if you feel like you are going to get rewards, you are going to win something, that's where dopamine get released. Okay, if you're anticipating some rewards, this feel-good chemical get released. And we also notice that if you take some of the food like banana, chicken, almond nut, cheese, yogurt, dark chocolate, all these can increase some of the release of dopamine in your life. That's why we eat chocolate, we feel happier, right? But keep in mind that balanced diet are also very important. But these are just some of free tips that you can do to make yourself happy, all right? But another thing is new experience. What makes us want to tap into social media? What makes us want to tap into social media? Because we never know what will come out from social media, right? When you tap into TikTok, you never know what is the first video, right? When you go to Instagram or Facebook, we never know. That's why we always get surprised. Imagine that every time if you tap into social media, things are going to be the same. We feel bored, right? There is no rewards, there is no surprises. So because of this new experience, we are driven to open the social media more because dopamine will get released. But can we apply this in your real life? Yes. If we learn this from social media, how they design the algorithm, can we design this algorithm in our real life? Can we create new experience in our real life? Can we try new things? Can we try new goal? And recently, I've set this new goal in my life is I make breakfast in my life. So I try different things, right? I try making breakfast for myself. I try to enjoy a day starting with breakfast or trying a variety of breakfast. So you can look at your life. Are you lacking of new experience? Or are you spending not enough time doing your hobbies or interests? We notice that if you do your hobbies or interests, just spending some time for yourself, you can feel rewarded as well. So 2 questions for you. Are you aware, the things or interests that you enjoy doing? This is one of the toughest questions in my therapy session. I ask my client, okay, we are talking about your mental health concerns. What do you enjoy doing? This is one of the toughest questions to my clients. So same questions to you. Are you aware the things or your interests that you enjoy doing? If you can list out some of it, next question is, when was your last time doing it? Okay. If you realize that, oh, it's been a long time, today is Friday, weekend is coming, plan your new experience, okay, to release your dopamine. Second one, oxytocin. Oxytocin, we call it the love hormone. So for mothers who deliver childbirth, oxytocin will release a lot. Will be released to facilitate childbirth. Okay, so when we talk about love hormone, is that oxytocin will get released when you have human touch, when you get connected in human relationship. So what makes pandemic so stressful? Because we can't get connected with people, right? We are losing this physical touch. So the skinship, people saying that, right? So that's why if you want to have this, you can try this as well. Spend some time for positive relationship, positive interactions, complemented to one another, and with your loved ones, you can, cuddling and or go for massage as well. We notice that all these come with physical touch that can release our oxytocin as well. And if you have pet in the house, from studies we notice that if you are cuddling your pet, if you are touching your pet, not only you, your pet, will have oxytocin release as well. Okay, so this is the love hormone. It's about bonding. You can't get oxytocin from food, but you can get it from spending time with your relationship. So my question is that, when was your last time really spending time with your loved one, okay, or your family or friends? Okay, so this is oxytocin. So DOS. As serotonin is the mood stabilizer. If you are aware of the antidepressant also work in this, right? Trying to increase the level of serotonin in clients with depression, right? Because serotonin is in charge of our mood, in charge of our sleep, in charge of our concentration, appetite, in charge of a lot of things, right? And if you want to increase your serotonin naturally, what you can try is bright light exposure. If you're working from home, study from home, try to begin your day and place your working desk near to the window so that you can have enough light exposure to you. And we have this light therapy in other countries. For example, countries that have 4 seasons. During winter, we tend to feel depressed because we don't have enough daylight exposure. So make sure that you have enough light exposure during the daytime that can boost your serotonin naturally. Okay, if you are a big fan of meditations or exercises, go for it. And the third one is, if let's say you can practice gratitude exercise, right? Just ask yourself, hey, my day just ended, and can I just write out 3 things that I appreciate today? You can appreciate yourself. You can appreciate that it was a peaceful day. I always appreciated that I have no accidents. I come home, I reach home safely, right? Safe home. So this is something that we can appreciate, and we notice that if you can practice gratitude in long term, that boosts happiness in your life. Another one is psychotherapy. We notice that when we go through psychotherapy, that can also boost serotonin indirectly as well. Okay, the last one is endorphin, the pain reliever, right? We have heard of morphine, right? It's quite similar when it comes to chemical compound, but endorphin is a natural chemicals in our brain and our body, right? It's the endorphin. So we notice that if you watch a movie, have a good cry or good laugh, endorphin will get released. Or if you are a big fan of exercise, people love going to gym. Sometimes we are attending classes, Zumba with music, right? Stretching, cardio exercise, all this will release endorphin. And if you love music, right, regardless of your music performance, but if you enjoy singing, I'm a bathroom singer, for example, right? Just sing and enjoy the music, dancing, all this movement can boost your endorphin as well. Okay, so all these are free tips for you to increase happiness levels in your life. Okay, always free. You can customize it for your own. The DOSE. Okay, So while reaching the end of our presentations, as you can see in the beginning, we talk about emotion. We talk about different emotion. Yes, there are emotions that make us very unpleasant. So rather than categorizing our emotion into positive or negative, I would like to remind you that every emotion comes with a purpose, and every emotions, there are values and meaning behind it. Similar to our thoughts as well. Yes, there are thoughts that may sound like negative. We always judge ourselves. We always predict the worst. But sometimes negative thoughts help us to improve ourselves or reveal ourselves. Okay, but what if emotions are too overwhelming? What if thoughts are too overwhelming? You can apply NAMA skill for emotion, and you can apply 3C model for the thoughts. So with that, you can also apply the 4 type of activities or skills that you can do for your happiness dose. Okay, so before we move on to the Q&A session, I would just like to end my sharing with this quote is that, most of the time when we are so overwhelmed by the incidents or unfortunate situations, we tend to judge ourselves, we tend to see ourselves, or we label ourselves. But I would like to remind you with this kind of metaphor where when you notice how you feel, when you notice your thoughts, they are part of you, but they are not you. You are more than an emotion, you are more than your thoughts. And imagine that you are just like the big sky, and everything else, including your thoughts and emotions, they are just the weather. We may have bad weather, right? We may have big raining, huge raining, we may have sunset, right? We may have rainbow, we may have different things. But regardless of the weather, they never hurt the sky. So you are the sky, and you are more than your emotions and your thoughts. So with that, I would like to end my presentation here, and thank you for your attention. Now we move on to the Q&A session. Okay, so over to you, to the tech team. Okay. So this is prepared by the team regarding the talk that we have covered today regarding our emotions and thoughts. And here's a safe space. Here is a Slido. You can just go to Slido website, and you can key in the code or scan this barcode. Here's a safe space. You can drop your questions anonymously, and I will try my best to answer your questions here. It can be the concerns that come from you personally, or it can be the questions that come from your loved one. Also can, no problem. You just need to go to slido.com, and the code will be 2441831. Or if there's any questions that are posted directly to the team, the technical team can remind me as well. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay, I will assist you for the Slido.
All right. Yep, I see
Okay,
some questions.
Okay, so I will start with the first question.
Mm.
So how to know if we are emotionally healthy? What are some of the signs that can indicate it? So, Mr. Gary, can you please answer the
Okay.
question?
Yep. Okay, so how do we know, right, if we are emotionally healthy? I guess one of the signs is that if you link back to my slide, it's okay to have different emotion. You may have up and down emotion. You may feel happy, and the next day you may feel sad, because our emotions are related to what we are experiencing in life. However, there are some signs that might need your extra attention. If you notice the emotions are persistently affecting you. For example, exam is over, but you still feel anxious persistently, okay, to the extent that you couldn't sleep. Or if you feel like persistently depressed, regardless of whatever happened, whatever positive news that come to you, but you still feel very low mood. So first is you notice that the emotions are out of control, and they are persistently affecting you. And sometimes because of these persistent or long-term emotion, they're really out of control, and with that, it may affect your functioning, right? It may affect your functioning. If you notice it affected your functioning, you can't study well, you can't focus well, or you can't sleep well. It affected your daily life already. So these are some of the signs that you need to take note. Okay, the first one is when the emotions are persistently affecting you, it's out of control, it's too much, and it affected your life and functioning. Yeah. Okay, so thanks.
Thank you for the answer, Mr. Gary. And we move to the next question. Okay, how do we maintain our emotional well-being at all times, such as being able to stay positive even after being emotionally exhausted?
I guess the key to maintain our emotional well-being is not about staying positive at all time. Because sometimes if we fight so hard to get rid of our emotions, emotion might bounce back more. Just like my client story, right? I've tried so hard not to feel frustrated, but the more I try to stop myself, I lash out to the people around me. So in order to maintain our emotional well-being, I would say it's very important to identify how we feel. It's very important to identify how we are feeling right now and to understand where does your emotion come from. Most of the time, if we can understand the meaning behind our emotions, your emotion can hint you what are the actions that you can take to handle the current situation. So I would say allowing yourself to have certain emotions are very important. If you want to talk about positive, I would say also remind yourself that what are the good things that happen in my life. Sometimes we have this bias. We tend to pay more attention to negative events in our life, but we overlook positive events. So if you want to promote more positive feelings, I would say is to pay more attention or remind ourselves what are the good things that happen during the day or during the week. So this is something that you can do as well. Okay, so the
Okay, it's
next
very
one.
interesting answers from Mr. Gary. So let's move on to the next question. I'm always afraid of entertaining my emotion because I feel like I might not handle it well. Therefore, I distract myself. Will it be bad to do this over time?
I would say it's very common. Even I myself, I might distract myself from emotion, especially emotion that are very, very unpleasant. Okay, especially sadness, loneliness, anger. Sometimes when it comes, even our body sensations might not be pleasant, right? We feel chest discomfort, palpitation, etc. Right? I would say distraction for temporary or short term, it might be helpful, but you need to take note if you are using this strategy at all time. Um, is it really helping you to achieve something that you want to do? For example, relating back to my client story, she has been trying to get rid of her frustrations, and then lashing out to her family members. When we really slow down, not distracting ourselves, but really look into your emotions, probably you will be more aware. Wow, this is the stress or this is the concern that I've been facing, but it's not addressed yet. And if you are not sure how to start, you can start naming how you feel first.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Gary. So next question, please. Okay, what if I run away from my thoughts by doing a lot of work, but at the same time I feel exhausted? Do you have any recommendation on my situation?
Okay, if you look at this, somehow we can catch the signal already that you are having this feeling of exhausted, right? Your emotions are telling you something already. That could it be when we are trying to run away from our thoughts by doing a lot of work, we are burdening ourselves more. We are doing a lot of things. That's why your exhaustions are here to remind you that, hey, maybe we are running away too much or we are handling too much. So I guess here there are something that you can do is you see if you can just catch your thoughts using a 360 model. Catch your thoughts. What are the thoughts that I try to run away, and where does the thought come from? Because when you start to catch the thoughts, you don't need to do a lot of work to distract already. You pause and catch the thoughts. Maybe that thoughts can hint you or lead you to look at the situation that really concern you. And that's where we reach out for support. We reach out for support, we talk to others, or we reach out to uni counselor to explore the difficulties here. So with that also answer your exhausted feelings, because your exhausted feelings are reminding us, hey, we really need to take a break and stop running away and catch your thoughts. Okay.
Okay, next question, please. Does being hard on myself got anything to do with emotional instability?
Sometimes I would say without the context, I can't really explain in a way that whether being hard on myself will lead to emotional instability or emotionally lead to being hard to ourselves. How I see being hard to ourselves is like, we become really judgmental. We really criticize ourselves a lot, even though we just make very small mistake, for example. So I would say here it comes with two aspects. One is emotional instability. It can happen in this way where we are so criticizing ourselves, we're so too much critical to ourselves, it may trigger a lot of emotion. Imagine that you are being hard on yourself every second in your life. That might trigger a lot of frustrations towards yourself, not to others. And that may lead to more sadness, anxiety when you have more and more important tasks or assignment going up. So if you are struggling with this, I would say we can try this self-compassion technique that I didn't cover in my talk. Is that if you find yourself you are so hard on your own, you can ask yourself, if my best friend is facing this situation and I see my best friend criticizing himself or herself, how would I comfort him or her? If you have some comfort line in your mind, say that back to yourself when you are being hard on yourself. So there's something that we can be more compassionate towards ourselves.
Okay, thank you. And another question. We have another question. Okay, how actually that people who choose to ignore to have emotions are being cool or miserable inside?
This one, okay. I'm not sure when we ignore our emotions, what would be the first experience that we may encounter. But when it comes to a situation where we choose to ignore to have emotion, which means that we have emotion at the first place, but we choose to ignore. So what we notice from study or even my experience with clients, when we choose to ignore or repress, or when we want to get rid of certain emotion, the emotions won't go away. And it may turn out into stress or more anxiety, more low mood. It can be in that way. So on the outside, we may remain cool when we choose not to express much, but the inside, probably you will notice that there are still a lot of intense emotions that are not being addressed.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Garia. Okay, another one is how to know if we are emotionally healthy. What are some of the signs that can indicate the emotionally healthy?
Yeah, I guess this one we have answered in the first questions. That when it's too much, or persistently affecting you, then it may affect our emotional health.
Mm. Okay, so
Um,
okay, how to make our emotion no affected, although we live in a toxic environment. Not
this is
affected.
not easy to achieve. If you want to ensure yourself not being affected, we may end up in a cycle where trying to get rid of how we feel. Because being in a toxic environment, it will trigger a lot of emotion, right? It will trigger frustration, it will trigger sadness, or it will trigger disgust feeling, etc. So I would say, if you are really in a toxic environment, it's important to name how you feel first. Because your feelings will tell you how toxic this environment is, and your emotions may remind you maybe there's a need to protect yourself, to set a boundary, or even a move to leave this environment. So your emotion is the key. Is the key to help you to make actions if you are stuck in this environment. Because my recommendation won't be just make yourself not affected. Because if you can recognize this is a toxic environment, it is already affecting you. So naming how you feel, understand the meaning of it, maybe your emotion will guide you to take better actions to protect yourself or set boundary in this environment. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, we move on to the last question. Okay, so I am always insecure about my friends who are more clever and have high grade than me. So how should I handle the insecurity?
Okay, so I guess from these questions, maybe we most of us can relate to this. We want to be better, we want to be better, and sometimes we reflect or we judge ourselves when we are not doing better or people are better than us, right? So I guess if you realize that you struggle when you compare yourself with others, I would say maybe we can reframe. We can reframe in a way that can we compare with our past self? Can we compare with our past self? That sometimes we improve every time we learn something, even though we make mistake, we become better than our past self. So if you want to handle this insecurity, I would say rather than keep comparing yourself with others, why not you can reference back to your past. Hey, doing this, if compared to my younger self, maybe today I see some strength in myself. I see positive things about myself. Okay, so there's something that you can do going back to yourself. And most of the time, when we compare ourselves with our past self, you will notice how much strength that you have coping with the challenges. And second one is also acknowledge your efforts as well. Sometimes we focus so much of the outcome of everything we do, but we overlook the process that we have dedicated to. Do we see the qualities? Do we see our commitment? Do we see the values that we have expressed in this process? So I would say expand your thoughts not only from the result, but also from the process, your learning experience, your study as well. Hopefully that can reduce your insecurity within yourself.
Okay, thank you. That's all from the question. And thank you, Mr. Gariak, for sharing your thoughts about mental health. And thank you for answering the question.
No problem.
Okay, lastly, I hereby declare that we have reached the end of today's program. So we would like to thank each and every one of our participants for taking part in today's program. I would like to request all students to fill in the attendance for today's program through the Google Form link that has been provided in the chat box or scan the QR code provided in the slide. And reminder to all participants, please remember the keyword given in the slide and the chat box to be used in the closing ceremony on Saturday, 11th of June 2022 to receive your ECET and merit, and you also have a chance to win a giveaway. So I repeat a reminder to all participants, please remember the keyword given in the slide and chat box to be used in the closing ceremony on Saturday, 11th of June 2022 to receive your ECET and merit and to stand a chance to win a giveaway. I repeat again, to all participants, please remember the keyword in the slide and chat box for the closing ceremony on Saturday, 11th of June 2022 to receive your ECET and merit, and you can stand a chance to win a giveaway. Thank you very much and Assalamualaikum.